Hi there. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are. I hope your Friday is going well. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Kokomlemle. Our digital address is GA09925339. Our top stories this hour. SNIT hospital staff, from doctors to cleaners to self-quarantine, as 2 patients there test positive to coronavirus. We have been live on the ground and put together the details for you as we aim for more answers from hospital authorities later in the show. And as minority mounts pressure on government to reopen borders to allow Ghanaians stuck outside to return home, it appears government may just be considering the pros and cons of lifting the embargo on international travels. We'll be examining that particular subject today. Also, as Ghana's coronavirus cases exceed 3,000 with 18 people dying, there are yet expectations by the populace for the ban on public gathering to be lifted. What are the implications of such an action? I want you to talk to us. Join us on DSTV 421, GoTV 144. We're streaming live on YouTube. You can also share your thoughts, your opinions with us on 0540-109009. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. This is The Pulse. Please be my guest. Having a guest early. The Trust Hospital at Osu, Oxford Street is to shut down for 2 days to make way for fumigation of the facility after they confirmed 2 coronavirus cases there. The patients had been admitted for other conditions until they started exhibiting strange symptoms and later tested positive for COVID-19. More than 60 workers, including doctors, nurses and other staff who are thought to have been exposed to the positive cases, have been told to go into self-quarantine. Ifiadra is PRO for the hospital, who join me shortly. But Fred Smith is head of our health desk, has been to the hospital. He joins me now. Fred, do tell us, what did you find on the ground?
Well, the hospital has started migrating a lot of the services they provide at the Oxford Street branch to the nearby Cuckoo Hill branch, which is the specialist facility there. And so those on admission have now been moved there, and they are in the process of migrating the outpatients department as well as the accident and emergency department to the specialist unit at Cuckoo Hill. The information is that these 2 were on admission and for different reasons, but it turned out that they were experiencing certain symptoms which we do not know yet. We've not been told yet that.
So we don't know what kind of symptoms they were exhibiting.
But for one, it got to a time the oxygen levels kept dropping, according to the sources we were speaking to. The oxygen level kept dropping, and for every 4 hours they test, they realize that there's a drop. And so they decided to test for COVID. So they picked sample of this person. They also picked sample of another person who had been there on a different issue, and all 3 of them, 2 tested positive and the other tested negative. And because originally the staff were not working with COVID in mind, they have all been told. And according to this PRO for the hospital, she's saying that the staff work with full PPE on regardless of what the case is, and so they don't believe that their staff are that much exposed. But as a precaution, they've asked a number of them to stay at home. She does not put a figure on the number of staff who have been sent home or sent into quarantine, but our sources confirm that these numbers could be well in excess of 60 people. But what we're picking up also is that some more than those numbers may have been exposed, and therefore it will be important to completely shut down the facility and have everybody go into quarantine of a sort until we are clear on the happenings so far.
And talking about shutting down the facility, we understand that Zoom Lion has been contracted to do fumigation. Give us an idea what that is also looking like.
Indeed. So tomorrow, when the facility is completely shut down, Zoomlion will be there to fumigate the place, just like we've seen them do at police stations, our secondary schools, universities, and everywhere. They'll be there to fumigate the entire place and to ensure that if there are any viruses that are there, we do not, leave them there for people to come and pick them up again. So the facility will be shut down tomorrow morning, and then the fumigation will start for 2 days. And on Monday, it will be reopened. And the hospital is assuring its staff that they are doing this to ensure that their safety is respected.
And that's a hospital that's right in the heart of town, and so
Indeed.
it's a very important place to keep an eye off as far as coronavirus is concerned and the possibilities we're looking at.
Yes, the good news for the Trust Hospital is that they have other branches spread across Accra, and so it makes it very easy. It has directed their clients, for instance, to go to Kuku Hill. There's one at Kuku Hill. There's another at Nyaniba, not too far from where this is. There's one at Dansuman. There's Tantra Hill and other places where those who really want to go to the Trust Hospital itself can go and have access to health care without any danger.
Fred, thank you very much. Fred Smith has been to the Trust Hospital, where the hospital is being shut down for fumigation after 2 coronavirus cases were recorded there. Now, mind you, staff that were working with these cases did not think that they were working with people who had coronavirus, and so they had to go into self-quarantine whilst their test they wait for their test result. Fred Smith is head of our health desk. Now, the Information Ministry says government has received proposals to open borders to Ghanaians. Although a decision has yet to be taken, it is up for consideration. The Deputy Information Minister at a media briefing this morning said the proposals are being looked at.
There is a task force made up of experts who are advising the president daily at the meetings that he chairs himself every evening at 6 p.m. All these proposals are being considered, and decisions that are in the interest of the country as a whole will be taken. There are risks to all of the options that are available, and you have to balance and be calculated in taking those decisions. And so, as we speak now, I am not aware of a decision that has been made to allow persons from outside of the jurisdiction to enter into the jurisdiction. The ban, the closure of our borders are still in force, but I know also that various other scenarios are being considered. And as and when, in the wisdom of the president and his advisors, it becomes important and that the risks of fresh importations are minimized, I can assure you that, and that decision made, I can assure you that we will make it available for you.
The government is also fighting off claims by the minority in parliament that it is giving Ghanaians false hope that the coronavirus situation in the country is under control. Deputy Information Minister again says government's approach has so far been effective and successful. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu yesterday said government is engaged in a public relations gimmick to create a false sense of security, which is not the reality on the ground. Here is Mr. Hajide again. He says that view or that opinion is misinformed.
The misinformation, deliberate distortions, and warped analysis put out by the NDC flag bearer had been bemoaned and roundly condemned by many well-meaning Ghanaians. Just days ago, the presidential candidate of the NDC, Mr. John Mahama, in one of his COVID-19 political broadcasts on Facebook, embarrassed himself by ignorantly questioning why the government had accessed an IMF facility, claiming that no other African country had done so, an outright fabrication from a man who had occupied the high office of President a few years ago. 20 other African countries, including all the ones Mahama specifically listed, have assessed the IMF facility of $18 billion for African countries to help cushion them through the crisis. Indeed, the facility is interest-free and without the suffocating conditionalities that the IMF imposed on Ghana when forced by a toxic mixture of incompetence and insensitivity. Mr. Mahama and the NDC went to the IMF for a bailout and policy credibility. It is clear that the NDC minority was only called in to do damage control. Whilst it may ordinarily be a good thing for the NDC minority to have found their bearing and a voice several weeks after Ghana started confronting and containing the COVID-19 pandemic, it is pathetic that even upon hindsight, the minority is still unable to offer any pragmatic alternatives, but merely rehash those same lame queries that Mr. Mahama has asked during his political broadcasts on Facebook. Several weeks into COVID-19, and after several media engagements, both at the presidential and other levels, it is disappointing that such deep levels of unawareness is being exhibited by the minority. It is disappointing, for instance, that the minority is unaware that across the various metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, public education is ongoing. It is shocking and even embarrassing that the NDC is still lashing onto the very bogus proposal that the government should have repatriated Ghanaian students from Wuhan. The students themselves have spoken to several media outlets and shown gratitude for the much wiser decision of the Akufo-Addo government. This week, schools, in fact, have reopened in Wuhan. And for the records, not a single Ghanaian student in China was infected by COVID-19. And yet, instead of conceding that the government exercised far superior judgment, as we always have, they keep repeating this bankrupt and expired proposal. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, may I also report through you to the good people of Ghana that under the able leadership of President Akufo-Addo, monthly stipends for Ghanaian students studying on government scholarships abroad have been paid upfront and in advance. Yes, the second quarter, i.e., April, May, and June,
Pius Enam Hajide is Deputy Information Minister. I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? Are we making the right decision? Once again, are we increasing the politicization of this conversation? Talk to us on 0540109009 via WhatsApp. Send your message via WhatsApp. Please do not call this number. I want to hear from you. I'll take you through the case count so far. Once again, we're beyond 3,000 at the moment. So what do the figures say? So there you have it. The total confirmed cases, 3,091. 3,091 is our total confirmed case as it stands. Let's take a look at the regional breakdown, shall we? Greater Accra region leads, 2,579 people have it. Ashanti region has 165. Eastern region now has 95, whilst the Western North region has 56. Central region has 50 cases, Western region 32, Volta region 30. We're told that 9 have recovered. Upper East has 26. And the Oti region has 23 cases, Upper West 19, Northern 13, Northeast 2, and the latest to join the league is Bono region with 1 case. But there's good news. The good news is that all across the world, more people recover than those who die. So in Ghana, 18 people have died to coronavirus, but 303 have also recovered. What are your thoughts? What should we do? As the minority continues to call for reopening of our borders, and government said it is considering it. What do you think? Is that something we should do now? I want to hear from you. Now, efforts to stop the spread of COVID-19 in Obuasi in the Ashanti region is facing fierce resistance from residents who are downplaying its existence and prevalence in the area. The mining town currently accounts for 56 or 1/3 of 189 COVID-19 cases recorded in the Ashanti region. Local authorities say such misconception and complacency have led to breakdown in safety protocols as lives are exposed to danger. My colleague Ohimin Teria of our health desk has more in this report from Obuasi.
Out of 43,611 cumulative specimens collected in all districts in Ashanti, Obuasi accounts for the highest number of over 4,000. The town is the first in the region to have begun contact tracing after recording the first confirmed COVID-19 case. With support from mining giant AngloGold Ashanti, Obuasi has a strong COVID-19 task force whose control and command center provides 24-hour support service. Same, however, cannot be said of the attitude of the public, especially market women. They exhibit their doubts about existence of coronavirus by flouting with impunity every social distance protocol, exposing the town's 220,000 population to risk.
Yeah, was a funny man. You don't teach ya ni say alien ewo obi asen fa na ni hu yate eso wa mu anin tu say ya social distance ana meboa so abogidi a nka ye kan social distance no kenti ase aye adwuma man ka ye foforo so uba ye wahu bi enama ye to nyina say ya ye ho la
ebinu mo gi akinyi say wo mu abanyi na ye hu nipa no ye ne abibifo se me to na dwuni na yale bia ya mea na saban abefa me kwano ayi mea ba me to na dwuni bia ma ya nto me ye nsatu ya nipa sa na abibifo te ye de nsa ba kiram to sa ma me wei yale no bi ya no ye de ne ko ha ene sei e ba se nkwai enkwala kura hu me on ba dwane.
The situation has compelled local authorities to close to business 2 major markets which share about 3,000 traders between them. Obuasi Municipal Chief Executive Elijah Adansibona tells JoyNews people openly demand to see COVID-19 patients to be convinced. He describes such negative attitude as worrying amid the national effort to overcome the pandemic.
They don't really believe the existence of the virus. I'm telling you. They think that if indeed the virus, where are the people? They've been asking us, where are the people? Show us where they live. But we cannot do that because of stigmatization. If you tell them that, oh, Mr. Simesi has got it, people run away from the person, and some can even commit suicide. So it is something we would never do. But we want the people to know that the virus is real and we should not play with it.
Local government and health authorities are nonetheless intensifying public sensitization. Mr. Adansibona warns he may be compelled to recommend a lockdown of Obuasi if disregard for laid down protocols continue.
If the people are not ready to go by what we are putting out, then I'll also be compelled to suggest to authorities that Obuasi should be, because we cannot defy orders and say we are safe. We are not. So if you get to that point, yes, if I'm supposed to recommend, I will do that. But for now, let's implement what we've put together and see.
From Obuasi, Ohimin Teria reporting.
Ahiming sent that report from Obuasi. You've been sending in your thoughts. Let me read them to you. Instead of the government focusing on great measures to curb COVID-19, they are rather responding to the opposition. Too bad. This is McDonald. McDonald is texting us from Tema. Thank you for your message. This one says, seriously, why the rush to declare the virus is going down in Ghana? Secondly, we need accountability of all the money spent and realized in COVID-19. Yakubu sends that message from East Legon. This one says, hi, Gifty. Mr. Mahama and his NDC are fancy talkers. They do not understand anything. Shame on them, from Kofi, texting us all the way from Hohoi. Opening the borders now, this texter says, will be a bad idea. My name is Masawudu Hamza Kapelo from Nkwanta South in Oti region. Thank you for sending your message. Hi, Gifty. I'm Techi Isaac from Kumasi. How long shall we continue to politicize this COVID-19 fight? And who at all started this inhumane politicization? Right, politicization. We citizens are watching. Thanks for sending in that messages as well. Let me take a few more and then we can go on a break and return. Marvelino says, I'm texting from Ofanko, North Hills. For me, I think the government has done great, but I would advise they shouldn't fall prey to the pressure from the minority. I don't think their suggestions is in the interest of the nation, but a political gimmick. And then you laugh out loud. I'll take a quick break. When I return, I have more, and I'll still take more of your messages. To stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Now, following the closure of the Techiman Central Market for 2 weeks as part of measures taken by authorities on COVID-19, the Techiman Municipal Assembly has started a free distribution of masks to traders as the market is being open to trading activities. This, according to authorities, would be followed by a rigorous enforcement of the wearing of the masks, where defaulters would be made to face tougher punishments. More in this report.
It's been 2 weeks exactly since authorities here in the Techiman municipality closed down the Techiman Central Market because traders here continuously defied social distancing protocols. This, according to authorities, is to help prevent the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic within the municipality. Well, today, authorities are officially reopening the Techiman Central Market to trading activities, and this is being preceded with a free distribution of nose masks, thousands of nose masks by city authorities led by the Techiman Municipal Chief Executive, Mr. John Kofi Doyina. He tells us why the Assembly have decided to freely distribute these nose masks.
We got to the point where it has come to notice that the wearing of masks, such a nose mask, will help a lot. So we are advocating for that. Looking at the Bono East region, we must ensure, because the influx of people into this market is so enormous. So if you relax and not enforce this protocol by asking people in their mass numbers to wear masks, things will not go down well for us. That's why Assembly has taken upon itself to distribute masks to the market women and the market folk.
The free distribution of the nose mask will be followed by a full enforcement of the law.
The leadership of the various group within this market, and we've told them that after the distribution, we are going to enforce the law strictly. We are going to put in task force, including the normal security people, to see to it that everybody wear masks before coming to this market.
We've been speaking to some of the traders, and they are full of praise to the city authorities for this gesture of freely distributing these nose masks to traders.
May God bless you for distributing this to some of us who have not bought them yet. This would help protect us from the virus. We are grateful for this because once we have them on, it will help in reducing the spread of the virus, even if we have some here.
They, however, appeal to colleague traders to ensure that they put on the nose masks, especially those who have them but keep them in their bags and their packets, to use them in order to protect themselves and other traders from being infected with the COVID-19 pandemic.
dodo na omogye na omode ahye omubotoma omommo.
Those who pick them and keep them in their pockets are not helping us at all. So I am pleading with them to use them in order to get ourselves protected. Though the market has been officially opened to trading activities, the market will be run on shift system until further notice. Mr. John Kofi explains to me how.
We've penciled them green, yellow, and red. Right now, the green people are in the market. They will spend about a week. They will go to open field, and the red will come. It will get to a turn of the yellow group. So we are doing this track system in order to ensure the social distancing protocol to avert this pandemic in this municipality.
From the Techiman Central Market here in the Bono East region, I am Anas Sabit.
I'll be taking you to the Nsawam prison, but should we continue in the way we're going, what we're doing working so far? I asked you to send your messages through, and so let me take you through some of them. I don't think opening of our borders will help in the combat of this pandemic. The government should not succumb to pressure and do otherwise. The ban should be on social gatherings and border closure. But like what's happening in Obuasi, if people refuse to put in or to observe these protocols, there will be very little options left to authorities. Now, then, so one medium security prisons is appealing to corporate organizations to support efforts that it has initiated in the highly congested prison to prevent an outbreak and possible spread of coronavirus there. As part of precautionary measures to prevent the spread, the penitentiary has created an ad hoc holding center for fresh inmates who are brought there on remand or to serve a jail term. The challenge, however, is that the holding center sits in the same prison yard holding the inmates. This came up when the University of Cape Coast, led by Dr. Phyllis Kumajuro of the College of Distance Education, donated food items and toiletries to inmates of the prison as part of the university's annual corporate social responsibility. Latif Idriso has more in this report.
Preventive measures and safety protocols have become common feature among institutions in a bid to prevent possible spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Here at the Nsawam Medium Security Prison, authorities have created a holding center for fresh inmates in a bid to prevent the possible spread of the virus. But there is a challenge. This holding center is still stationed inside the main prison yard.
The facility was built to house 800 inmates, but as it stands now, we have more than 3,000 inmates in there. So what it means is that social distancing is something that is difficult to achieve in there. But we have managed to empty some cells to be used as, that are being used as an observation cell, so that those who come in as new admissions are kept there for a minimum of 2 weeks to make sure they don't exhibit any of the signs of the virus. And once they do, immediately our health team are on the standby to quickly transfer the person to the necessary quarantine facility where the person can be attended to. I must say that the fact that we have the observation cell in the prison is not the best. Yeah, we would have wished that we have a place outside the prison facility where new inmates or admissions can be kept to be observed and cleared before they are given access to the facility.
We've seen riots in other prisons in Mexico and other countries when first cases of COVID-19 were reported. How are you psyching these inmates up so that, again, in the unlikely event that a case next in, they are calmed and don't take the law into their own hands to try and escape from the virus?
I think the first step in every situation, anxious situation, is education. Once the people understand what is happening and know, they are made to know how they can protect themselves in the unlikely event of the virus coming here, then we can achieve some calm, even when the virus, and that is exactly what we have done.
Dr. Phyllis Kumajuro of the University of Cape Coast, who donated some food items to the Nsawam Medium Security Prison, say this is their own small way of helping the underprivileged, particularly in this hard time of COVID-19 pandemic.
We also thought as an institution who have students offering programs within this facility as part of our distance education program. We thought it's wise also to come and also support them fight this COVID-19. This kind of donation actually has been part of our annual donation as an institution that we do every year. And this one happens to coincide with the fight against the COVID-19. And so it's two ways. One, as our rituals that we do, and two, coinciding with the COVID-19. And we thought that's good to do a presentation like this.
So are you doing this for your students in here or just for the general population?
We are doing it for the entire inmates of the prisons. But we chose here because we had our students in mind.
Love News has found fake chloroquine is making rounds on the Ghanaian market. The drug, which is being used as one of the emergency treatment of COVID-19, has been detected in market in Kumasi and Accra. It comes at the time when the Exim Bank Ghana has given $5 million to local manufacturers to produce hydrochloroquine. Kumasi has that report.
Okay, when we talk about hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine, initially, chloroquine was one of the main drugs that were used for the management of malaria in our part of the world. But because of some of the abuses and all that, we became resistant to the malaria parasite. So it was really taken out of the essential drug list. So if you look at the Ghana essential drug list, chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine is not in it.
Apart from its anti-malarial prowess, chloroquine is effective against rheumatoid arthritis and lupus erythematosus, among others.
Chloroquine is known to kind of produce a slight suppression of the immune system. And so, based on that, it has been recommended and used for the management of autoimmune diseases, which are characterized by the body's own immune system attacking the body itself. So, if you have a drug that is able to suppress that, then you could derive some kind of relief, and chloroquine does that.
When the journal Nature's finding finally confirmed the new virus to be a relative of 2003 SARS, and 2005 report in the journal Virology revealed chloroquine's antiviral arsenal.
Chloroquine, being a basic compound, is said to be able to increase the pH of the cytosol. Okay, so this increase in pH of cytosol serves to inhibit the release of the genetic material from the viruses. So it kind of reduces the ability of the virus to cause the host cell to replicate the viral particles.
Pressure started mounting on local and foreign pharmacies. The Ghana Pharmaceutical Society had to come in.
Nobody can serve the drug unless it has been given the go-ahead to do so. So generally at the moment, we don't just go to the pharmacy. It's not a first aid drug. It's not paracetamol that you can say, oh, I have headaches. So somebody can just dish out.
Our checks reveal the drug Samquin 100, earlier detected and disapproved by the World Health Organization, is selling for 90 cedis wholesale in Ghana. The WHO says on its website, the WHO Global Surveillance and Monitoring System on Substandard and Falsified Medical Products received 9 reports of confirmed falsified chloroquine products from 3 countries. All reported products were identified at patient level and all have been confirmed as falsified. The country where it was detected happened to be Niger. Unfortunately, our checks reveal Samquin 100 has made its way into health facilities in Ghana. Although the drug pack, which comprises 10 strips, bears manufacturing or expiry date of November 2019 to October 2022, respectively, it has no manufacturing address. So I tried scanning a barcode to find out where it's coming from, and this is what I found. A call to the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana and the Food and Drugs Authority reveals they are unaware of the drug circulation. For JoyNews, Kwesi Debra.
Welcome the front line. So as the pandemic has made its way to the entire world, including Africa, various governments have taken a number of initiatives to prevent the spread or at least mitigate the outbreak in their various countries. Among these were health education messages to members of the public on personal counter measures required for the prevention of infection, establishment of testing centers, enhanced surveillance and contact tracing, among others. Ghana was no exception. West African College of Physicians is raising concerns about Ghana's testing capacity and response. Dr. Albert Akpalu is the Secretary General of West African College of Physicians. He joins me via Zoom for a discussion. Hi, Doc.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good.
I also have...
Okay.
Yeah, I also just was going to say
I think
that
I'm here with my vice president for the Ghana chapter, Professor Alfred Yosin. I think I can see him live.
Exactly.
On Zoom.
So I was just going to introduce him as well. Professor Yosin, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. So let me start with some of the observations that your association has made since the outbreak of the virus. If you can summarize it for me briefly.
Okay, so I think we are the West African College is happy with what the governments in the sub-region are doing, especially in going forward to put these lockdown measures in place and also to mitigate the social impacts of this lockdown. But however, we still have a few concerns which we need to ramp up, especially the availability of diagnostic centers. As you reported in your news today, State Hospital has to be shut down because they've had 2 cases who've been there for a whole week.
Yeah.
And there are similar stories around the place. So we need to improve the speed of testing and have real-time results. So when somebody comes in and is positive, we're able to move him to an isolation center and ramp up his treatment. And of course, we have to protect our health workers. Provide adequate PPEs, and there's a lot of black marketing going on. Prices, PPEs are not cheap, so I feel sorry for some of our institutions, but we have to protect ourselves, and there should be no. We should not cut any corners for that too as well, and we need to build on our capacity. Ebola has come and gone, and I must state that there have been other highly infectious diseases like Lassa fever and Ebola, which are still ravaging the sub-region. So we need to improve our capacity. So we as specialists across the sub-region are available. We are already on the front line and want to remind the government that we are here to help and we are here for the long term.
So one of the things you mentioned that caught my eye is black marketeering. You say that there's a lot of black marketeering. What exactly does that mean? And what sort of evidence?
Price of a gown before COVID maybe was 5 or 10 cities. Now saying at 85 cities. PP, the face masks are selling for 10, 20 times the price. So I think government needs to come in and try and bring down some of these prices so that the hospitals can survive.
Okay, let me bring you, Prof. Yosin, in this discussion. What exactly, do you have some sort of recommendation that government can follow in this time based on the concerns that you're raising?
Yes, certainly. As Dr. Akpalu said, the key to fighting this pandemic, one of the major issues have been the testing. And we are happy, for example, in Ghana, more testing sites are coming on board. However, we still have challenges receiving results, especially for clinical care of patients and for health workers as well. You take samples and it takes several days. And you can see if you are to quarantine 70 or so health workers, who else is going to be on the ground to provide service? So as much as possible, releasing test results and getting them as quickly as possible will help health workers to provide service not only for COVID patients, but for non-COVID services as well. And also, generally, to release the effect and the trauma that people go through whilst waiting for test results. So testing has been a major challenge. A lot of effort going in to improve that, but we still have quite a lot to do in that regard.
Right now, we were just yesterday, for example, you've spoken about testing. Last week, or I think about 2 weeks ago, there was a news report that we did indicating that some easy to handle test kits have been developed. I mean, has your association taken notes of that particular development, and what do you think of it?
Yes, there are so many unknowns about the current pandemic, and therefore we are very careful in what we will recommend. Currently, what we recommend is the PCR testing for the antigen, the organism itself. And we believe for now, in the current phase of the pandemic as at now, that is the most useful test that will help us. And therefore, all effort must be made towards getting a lot more centers doing the PCRs for now and getting the result quite as quickly as possible. Other tests may come on board and may be useful as we progress in the pandemic, where we would like to know whether people have developed antibodies, whether the body itself is able to fight the disease. But for now, to be able to diagnose and isolate and treat, we need a PCR, and I think that's the way we ought to go, and all efforts should be geared towards improving that.
Dr. Akpali, I'll bring you back in. How is the West African College of Physicians involved in this fight? To what extent are you involved?
We are central. We are central to this fight in that we are an association of physicians, specialists across the sub-region. So we are pediatricians, we are internists, we are laboratory physicians, we are public health workers, we are community health physicians across the sub-region. So we are in all the 13 out of the 16 countries in the sub-region. So we are leading from Professor Yosin is a public health physician in the community health department. He's integrally involved in contact tracing. We are on the front line at Korle Bu Teaching Hospital in looking after these patients as well. But across the country, across the sub-region, all our fellows and members are intricately involved. So once the governments know that we are there, we are supporting them, and we will lead the fight and improve our health in business as we go along.
Okay, I just want to find out from you, one of the things, one of the revelations that came up at I think the last but one press conference on COVID-19 was that the other diseases or other conditions that would have taken people to the hospital, attention to it is waning. So everybody, the focus is on coronavirus. How are the other parts of healthcare delivery being affected, and what can we do in these times?
Yes. So currently there's a phenomenon going on. Everybody is saying COVID. But COVID is hiding behind lots of other conditions. So we have people coming with the normal heart failure, strokes, liver diseases. Children are coming in with their malaria, meningitis, and etc. But also testing positive for COVID. So there's a big dilemma now. How do you tease out the two? Are we going to have hospitals designated just for COVID and non-COVID? But it's difficult to tease out the two because we're having the test coming in a week plus 5 to 7 days or 5 to 9 days. So somebody comes in with a chest infection, for instance. Do we have real-time testing to say, okay, this is a chest infection, it's likely to be an associated COVID infection, so isolate him, send him to a treatment center. Currently, unfortunately, this is not happening. I can say in Korle Bu, if a case is suspected from the emergency room and the test is taken, we have to send him to a holding place, which is not big enough. The treatment center in Korle Bu is only 6 beds, range is only 5 beds. So we're having loads of patients coming in and having other diseases, strokes, heart failure, everything, that also are COVID suspected. So what do we do? Do we give PPEs to everyone? No, it's difficult for the hospital because if a case is suspected, I have to wear the full PPE, I have to wear my gown, I have to wear my mask, and those gowns are damn hot, very hot. You cannot be in them for more than 3 hours maximum, and you need to be changing them on a regular basis. So it is difficult now for our hospitals. So for now, we are advising our health workers, every case is a COVID suspect. So use your PPE, protect yourself, wash your hands, wear your appropriate mask, wear the gowns if they are available, and we have to find a way of not I'm not going to say reusing, but having the appropriate PPEs for appropriate levels. So yes, people are dying at home from their strokes or from other illnesses because they are afraid to come to hospital. So that is it's like between the devil and the deep blues.
I know, right?
People are afraid to come. People are having their conditions. The COVID is masking some of these conditions, and the COVID is a multi-system disease affecting I'm a neurologist. We have cases with strokes. It affects the heart, affects the lungs, affects the kidneys, affects the liver, affects your gastrointestinal tract. Some of them come with diarrhea. So it's a mixed match. So for us as physicians, specialists, every case that comes into the hospital should be considered as a COVID suspect and treated as such. So that means that we have to ramp up our testing. We need real-time testing so that if I see a case, I think this is COVID, the test is done, results come in real time, and I can decide that this is what we are going to treat him on. So we don't do any trial and error, and we go according to the protocols that the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health have set for us to do.
Totally agree with you, and we've had a typical case from what you're saying at the Trust Hospital this afternoon. A typical case where, I mean, Trust Hospital, most of my colleagues go there, I go there myself. But and again, like you're saying, that is going to just increase the apprehension with which people want to go to the hospital. So I, for instance, had it. I was discussing with my colleagues, and I said, oh, but I just went to this hospital like last month or last 2 months now, and I'm feeling like, okay, should I go there again? But the good thing, like my friend, our head of the health desk was saying, is that they have other branches so that people can go to the other branches. But for frontline workers like yourself at Kolebu and also you, Prof. Yilson, I want to find out from you how this has been for you, the COVID period we're experiencing has been for you personally. How has it changed your life? What sort of stress is it putting on your system? And how are you dealing with it and working around it? Let me start with you, Prof. Yilson.
Yes, it's been a challenging period for all frontline health workers and all health workers in general. A period of uncertainty, but we still must do the work. And the little we ask for is the protection for our health workers, so the PPE. And when these are absent, health workers are forced to do the things they have to do, and that is quite difficult and sometimes traumatizing. So it's not been easy, but generally health workers have been doing quite well. Psychologically, physically draining, and sometimes you cannot just do some of the things you need to do. You get home and there are some things ordinarily you would have done, but this time you just can't do it. You need to try to avoid direct contact with kids, with family members, unless you do a few other things before, even where you enter the house from and all that. But in all this, we are trying to do our best, and we don't let it get to us very much. All we ask for is the little protection that we can be offered in terms of the PPEs, in terms of the systems that need to be put in place, like Dr. Palu said, getting the test results early so that we reduce some of this trauma for health workers. Yeah.
Okay, and talking about that, did Doc say you are a pediatrician? I just wanted to be sure.
I'm a community health physician.
Community health, okay, right. And he said you are a public health person, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to just put this quick question to you before I go to the personal one with Dr. Palu about the concerns that people are raising. I mean, just this afternoon we told a story about how the minority is asking governments to open up and allow people to come in. I mean, open up our borders. This afternoon, government held a press conference, and the Deputy Information Minister said that's something that's been considered. From a public health perspective, looking at the time, the period within which we are, is that a decision that we should even be talking about now, opening up the borders?
From the public health perspective, we will not encourage that for now. We need to contain what we have within our borders now and get a handle of that. Continue to contact trace, continue to test as many people as possible until we are certain and where these people are coming from as well. If we are certain other places, the incidents or the new cases of the infection are going down and we are a bit comfortable. But for now, it will be difficult and we will not advise that we do that. We still need to keep our borders closed for the time that we have set for ourselves until we see our way a bit clearer. That would be my advice.
I appreciate that public health perspective that you put in. Dr. Pali, I'm coming to you. Before we do the public health perspective, talk to us about the personal toll that this pandemic is taking on you as a frontline, as someone who's working at Kolebu of all places. How's it going for you?
So it's been quite a revealing experience for us. Ebola tried to come and it spared us, so we were ready, but we didn't really get into it, but it ravaged across the sub-region. And then Corona came, so it has really changed our way of life. My wife is a senior specialist in Kolebu too as well, so it's two of us at home, so we've had to change our way of doing things. So I have shoes in my boots that with sanitizing, we have to change before we come home. And our kids test us before we enter the house. So they check our temperatures. We have to sanitize, leave our things outside. We have to wash things separately. And we did our test last week. So before it took us some time to get the results. So I'd actually packed my things, ready to go to an isolation center. The results came. So we have to cheer ourselves up. It's tough on all the health workers. We are human. We are afraid as well because they are asymptomatic people who are shedding the virus. So that's why we all have to wear our masks wherever we are going. Today I entered a place, I forgot my mask. I had to go back. No masks, no entry. We need to get the appropriate masks. People are using all sorts of things. I've seen funny pictures on Facebook and the internet. Somebody actually put a Bible and tied it around. I know the word of God is powerful, but the word says wear your mask. So let us wear our masks, wash our hands, and let us be nice and kind to each other. People are suffering. It's hit a lot of economies. The hospitals are the hits. OPDs have gone down. People are afraid to come. Elective surgeries have been stopped, so people are not having the surgeries that they should. And it is affecting everything, economically, financially, spiritually. Our churches have been hit, but we are having virtual churches. So I think we as the college are encouraging governments to continue with the measures. We encourage governments to let everybody wear masks. That's the only way we can stop the community transmission. We need to increase testing so that we who are looking after patients, yes, I was negative last week, but what about next week? If I come in contact with you who is being to somewhere, we should stop the stigmatization. Let me use these opportunities we should stop the stigmatization. Because I work in Kolebu or I work in anywhere, that does not make me. I've seen some of my friends say, "Hey, COVID doctor." I said, "No." They call you
COVID doctor?
Yeah, because I work in an institution, and we see some of our colleagues like that too as well. So yes, physical distancing, hand washing, wear your masks, and let us encourage each other. This too shall pass. But
it certainly will.
When it shall pass, we do not know.
It certainly will. And along the line, I'm sure that we can always be checking up on you here. This segment that we've created on this show is for people at the front line like yourself. We take the time to, get your reflections, talk to us with all your problems of, if you need someone to listen to you at least, and also to draw attention of the authorities. So certainly, I'm sure we'll be checking in on you again one of these days. But just quick one before we go, the thought of opening the borders as a health personnel, does it scare you that we might end up having our health institutions overwhelmed if we do? That is part of the decisions we shouldn't be talking about at the moment.
So I actually feel sorry for So all our Minister of Health, the President, and everybody who has to take that decision by Sunday. But as Professor Yosin has said, in the public health perspective, we should be locked down till further notice. But our economy is going to suffer. What other measures do we have to put in place? So we encourage government to take these social mitigation and other policies carefully and weigh the pros, the benefits, and weigh the pros. Yes, if we open our borders now, we get an influx, we're going to have a second wave. Our officials say the cases are coming down. Yes, but we have 25 million plus. We've tested just a fraction. What about the asymptomatic cases? How are we going to catch them? When you open a school and just one asymptomatic person enters and spreads the virus, that's it. The virus has a different way of manifesting itself in different people. I can have it and be fine, and somebody next to me can have it and die the next day. So it's a big risk, it's a big gamble we are taking. My advice to government is wait a while, listen, yes, but tarry in making that decision to open the borders.
Okay, it's a big risk. It's a big risk and a big gamble, is how you put it. And I appreciate you taking the time to share your concerns with us. Like I said, on this segment of this particular show, we focus on frontline workers like you. Thank you so much, and keep doing the work that you're doing.
Thank you very much for having us.
Everybody that watched this show is grateful to you for the work that you're doing. We'll always be here to amplify your voice. Anything it is that you want us to talk about, we'll be here to give you that platform. I've been talking to Professor Alfred Yosin, Dr. Albert Akpalo. They are representative from the West African College of Physicians, but I mean they are physicians on their own. This is Frontline. Away from Frontline, the World Health Organization is warning that as many as 190,000 people across Africa could die in the first year of the coronavirus pandemic if crucial containment measures fail. The new research also predicts a prolonged outbreak over a few years. WHO Africa head Dr. Matshidiso Moeti has been giving details on this new finding. Now, Chinese researchers say the new coronavirus can persist in men's semen after they have begun to recover, a finding that raises the possibility that the virus could be sexually transmitted. A team at Shankui Municipal Hospital tested 38 male patients treated there at the height of the pandemic in China in January and February. I mean, a lot more details continue to emerge from this virus. It is still being studied, so we just have to be careful. So let's take a look at the worldometer. What is it saying? What do the world figures say? 3,954,826. That's the number of cases we've recorded throughout the world. 271,000 people, 995. That's a whole lot of people that have died. The good news is that 1,361,994 people who also could have died have recovered. So that's a good thing. And that's it. That's the world outlook for you this afternoon. Some messages before we go on the break. The politicization will not stop since both government and the opposition see this as an opportunity to maintain power or win power, respectively. Yabua Francis sent that from Asante Bekwai. I overheard the deputy minister for praising the government for achieving so much, and even went ahead to denigrate the opposition for spreading falsehood. Why is the government behaving this way? You go on and on. It's a very long message. It says even one of the health experts at KCCR in Kumasi is not happy at all the way and manner government is handling the issue, because he has realized the government is not being transparent. This is coming from Papa Bisu in Accra. And if you call the number, it makes it difficult for me to read the messages because you keep calling, so I'm unable to take the rest of the messages. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. President Akufo-Addo is expected to address the nation on the next line of action on restrictions on social gatherings as the 2-week extension ends this Sunday. Although it isn't clear whether he will lift the ban or not, he gave hints of how eager he is to steer Ghanaians back to normalcy in his last address.
In this period, let me state once again that the virus is the enemy and not one another. We must be resolute in our unity to defeat this invisible enemy. No country on earth has been spared the ravages of this virus. And my single-minded goal is how to steer the country out of this crisis, protect our population from the virus, and see to the rebuilding of our economy. Nothing else matters for me. Fellow Ghanaians, we must now begin to lift our heads above the parapet and look at our future with courage and hope. I shall be outlining shortly the path for bringing the restrictive measures systematically to an end and defining the basket of measures for the revival and growth of our national economy. We have to own our future.
But before his speech on Sunday, parents say they will not send their children to school, especially now that the cases are rising. According to them, they're not sure of their safety. Some of them spoke to us.
It's better for them to go to school, but for now, they know. Because the sickness going on is very real. It's very real. It's not easy. So for now, I have to wait for everything should clear. Then we see that we are safe or not before they should be allowed to go to school. When I see that everything is all right, everybody is moving safe, everything safe, I will allow them to go. Yeah. When the sickness decreases or maybe it's out from the system, yeah, they have to go. Yeah.
My siblings I will not accept, and they will never be safe because the country, in quotes, we are not safe. This pandemic is still in existence. The coronavirus is still in existence. It has not ended yet, and the number keep increasing. Recovering are few, and those who are having the cases are still high. So the president, I don't think, will never come on Sunday to raise the issue that churches can open, schools and social gathering can still be, pubs and bars can still open. I'm never sure. And even if he should, for me, I will not advise any fellow, any friend to accept that. And I'm never sure he will even say that.
Who knows the best? So if he says the children should go back to school, we don't have anything to say. Before he will announce it, he knows what maybe his advisors has been advised. He has been advised what to do and what not to do. So if he says the children should go to school, maybe after Sunday, I don't have a problem. We need to, as he's been updating us on this, the same thing that we should, yes. So I don't have any problem with if the president says the children should go to school. Because if he doesn't have any, he has not been advised, he won't come out to say certain. So that's it.
They will not help our children, and as the parents, it will be difficult to protect them from the virus should they return to school. The president shouldn't relax the restrictions.
COVID cases continue to increase. How will teachers avoid the spread in a class of 40 to 50 pupils? It will not help if schools should be reopened.
All right, so by Sunday, we'll all know what we need to do. Most important thing is for all of us to stay safe. So in this pandemic, in this pandemic times, a lot of people are putting in, efforts to help us fight the disease. I'll tell you about one of them. There's an organization that's spending 500,000 Ghana cedis, and they're doing this to provide free health care to Ghanaians for 1 month. I have their representative who will tell us more about this, Dr. David Sunu. He's a Chief Medical Officer of Bima Ghana. Now, that's the organization putting in this measure. Dr. Sunu joins me via Zoom. Doc, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. So, first of all, I understand that your organization is a telemedical health provider. Tell us about your operations. How really do you work so that we can understand the impact of your intervention in the fight against the pandemic?
Okay, thank you so much, and greetings to your viewers. So the organization is Bima Ghana, and we are a leading provider of mobile delivered insurance and telemedicine services in Ghana. We've been running since 2010, and I would say that in terms of insurance, we've paid more than 250,000 claims so far. And in terms of the telemedicine service, we are delivering this service to over 60,000 clients all across Ghana, doing about 8,000 consultations every month, and that is the scale of the service that we are providing so far.
Right. So you're saying that for the next 1 month, you are putting in $500,000, is it dollars, to provide free services to Ghanaians. Tell us about it. Help us to understand how it fits in the scheme of affairs, if you get what I mean.
Sure. Thank you so much. So there are two things we are doing. One, for our existing customers who are on our Be Health policy, we have spent part of this period during the COVID-19 era educating them more about COVID-19, the preventive measures. We have done this by engaging them via SMS and recorded voice messages. We have also, in conjunction with our underwriter, Alliance Life Ghana, set aside 500,000 Ghana cedis to support, these customers. These are about 45,000 customers that are eligible for this. We are supporting them with funds to enable them purchase protective gear, and this could be face masks or hand sanitizers. And the process is such that these customers just need to call our customer service number, and once they call, they will be connected to our health team that will educate them before even the money is sent out to them, because we believe that the protective gear alone is not enough. They need to do social distancing. They need to do proper hand washing. Right. So that is the offer we have for our customers. Now for Ghana, we are actually offering a free access to our telemedicine service from now till the end of June. Okay. And so what it means is any Ghanaian at all simply needs to dial a short code, *789 *96#, *789 *96#. Once you dial this short code, it would take details like your name, and by the next day, you will receive a confirmation that you are on our free Bima Doctor service. It means that 24/7, you have access to medical staff, actually medical practitioners, who are available via a toll-free line for you to obtain consultation for any health concern that you may have, not limited to COVID-19. We know during this period, people have challenges accessing hospitals. There are issues with costs of healthcare, and we believe that offering this to Ghanaians in general will relieve the pressure on the health delivery system that we have in Ghana. And we think that this is something we should do as a company that is seeking to protect the future of every family. We think that this is something that will really help the Ghanaian, and that's why we are doing it.
And so for the free services, it doesn't necessarily have to be someone who is already your customer?
No, not at all. I mean, our customers already have access to our doctors over the phone. So we are opening this up to everybody. Okay. Everybody located within Ghana simply needs to dial the code, and if I may repeat, it's *789 *96#. Once you dial this, within 24 hours, you receive a confirmation that you are on our free service. And this runs from now till the end of June. We believe this will be very impactful for the Ghanaian at this crucial moment.
And when they do that and they are signed on, when you have any, you can essentially make inquiries, or you can essentially have access to a doctor on phone.
Absolutely. So you have access to a full bouquet of our Bima doctor service. It means that, one, you have access 24/7 to a doctor over the phone via a toll-free line. So no, you don't need airtime to call. You also will be signed on to one of our health coaching programs. It means that you can choose a program that would inform the kind of health tips we'll send to you once every week. And it also means for you, not you alone, but also your family, so yourself, your spouse, and all your children. Because for us, like I said, we believe in protecting the future of every family. And as a company operating here in Ghana, we think this is one of the things we need to do to alleviate the pressure on the health delivery system of Ghana, and that's why we are doing this.
Sounds good to me. So once again, the code is *789 *96 hash. That's *789 *789 *96 hash. If you dial this on your phone right now, you get connected to the free services that Bima Ghana is providing, and it's up until the end of June. Dr. Sunu, thank you so much for this intervention, and thank you for your time here on The Pulse.
Thank you too.
Dr. David Sunu is Chief Medical Officer of Bima Ghana. They are a telemedicine health provider, and they are looking to make their services free from now till the end of June for you if you dial *789 *96 hash. Now, as you may already know, industries are walking a tightrope due to COVID-19 pandemic, but there are few others that have decided to lend a helping hand as well to the vulnerable. Wilma Africa Limited is one of those. They've partnered the multimedia group here to celebrate gallant mothers at the front lines of this pandemic. Nancy Dradosi has more.
Wilma Africa Limited, manufacturers of Frytol, has for the past 10 years been one of the leading agro-business companies in Ghana involved in the refining, packaging and distribution of edible oils. However, in recent times, industries have taken a hit from the coronavirus pandemic, and Wilma is no exception. Patience Imperi is head of marketing.
Yes, the coronavirus has had an impact on all industries, and even our industry as an FMCG. For Wilma Africa, we import some of our products. For instance, we import our fortune rice and baguettes here. And due to the closure of our borders and other stuff, we haven't been able to receive some of the orders that we placed, even though we have high demand for them.
Despite the challenges, the company says it will not relent in its effort to honor and celebrate frontline mothers as we celebrate Mother's Day.
He cares about people. Over the years, we always celebrate mothers, because without mothers, we wouldn't be where we are currently. This year, for instance, we are particularly collaborating with multimedia to celebrate our mothers, especially the frontline workers, because we feel they've really done so well, putting their lives at danger just to make sure that everybody is fine, just to make sure that we are all safe out there. I mean, it's something that is laudable, and we are very proud to appreciate them today.
This is going to be done in partnership with Joy Prime. Channel coordinator Gladys Oseo-Redu has been explaining how your mother can be a part of this beautiful experience.
We're saying this time our frontline mothers have gone the extra mile to sacrifice something that you and I may not have, because we are not within that category. And so let's give them that special recognition this time on Mother's Day. So what Joy Prime in partnership with Frytol is doing is that we giving every frontline mother that opportunity to be especially celebrated. And so we're throwing out the challenge. We say, all you have to do is tell us your story. What is that touching story of a frontline mother you know? We all are very much aware that we've had some mothers, health workers who have been infected in line of duty just by sacrificing to ensure somebody is saved from this deadly disease. And so a time like this, if we say we are celebrating mothers within that fraternity, I don't think it's really off the
Madam Patience Imperi shares some of the products that will be distributed to the gallant mothers.
Apart from our Frytol, apart from Jama soup, apart from Alive soup, apart from Fortune rice, we have listened to you and we have introduced the new Frytol sunflower oil, we have introduced the new Fortune margarine, and we have also introduced the new Frytol seasoning to satisfy all your needs.
The Mother's Day celebration is on the theme, My Mother, My Hero.
So what's your unique story? Share it with us as we celebrate all mothers. I'll be back shortly. You're welcome back. Now, Petrosol has extended its support to some medical institutions across the country. The oil marketing company is distributing items worth 100,000 cedis to about 10 hospitals across the country. Head of Marketing and Strategy, Kwasi Ziga, says the gesture is targeted at assisting medical institutions with the needed resources for protection while they put in their efforts to save lives in the wake of COVID-19.
We are here today because Petrosol cares. We are a socially responsible company. We know what's going on. As you know, we are in an era of COVID-19 pandemic. So we know that there's so much pressure on the medics, on the medical staff across all the hospitals. So as much as we are applauding them, we are cheering them for the good job they are doing, we also deem it fit to come in and support them. Okay, we have to support them because they are putting their lives at risk to save more lives. So they themselves must be protected with PPEs and with medical supplies. So Petrosol put together PPEs and medical supplies worth 100,000 Ghana cedis. 100,000 Ghana cedis. Okay, so this is what we are doing to support them. So you may see over here, you may see face masks, okay, N95 face masks. Then we have rubbing alcohol, okay, we have hand sanitizers, and we have gloves. So together, these are worth 100,000 Ghana cedis. So this is what we are doing to say that we care. We care for our people. We care for our medics who are saving life daily, okay, during this pandemic. And in addition to that, we have also made available 5 pickups, okay, pickups to deliver these items, okay? We fuel them with drivers. So they're going to deliver these items to the various hospitals that we have identified who are in dire need of these PPEs and medical supplies. Yeah, to the various hospitals. Okay, so for now we are looking at about 10 hospitals, okay? And these hospitals cut across the whole country. Okay, so through, you know, we have fuel stations across the country in various communities. So we have identified selected hospitals who are in dire need of these medical supplies and PPEs. So these items will be going to them through our delivery pickups. We know what to do, okay? Basic safety tips, okay? We are saying that make sure you wear your face mask. It's very important. We are saying that, look, wash your hands regularly. So these are basic, you know, safety tips that all over the place that we have to. But Petrosol, what we are saying is that we are urging people to just comply, okay? To just comply with these basic safety tips. Make sure when you are not feeling well, you don't go out. Make sure in case you have to go out, make sure you are in your nose mask, and make sure you wash your hands. And to demonstrate our commitment, we have provided safety and PPEs and other safety materials to our stations. So you can see our station staff, you know, properly dressed up in their various PPEs so that they protect themselves, okay, first and foremost. In addition to that, they also protect customers who are coming to Petrosol stations across the country for service.
The Kumasi Children's Home has also been receiving support from organizations within the Ashanti region to help in their fight against COVID-19.
Kumasi Children's Home is one of government institutions which rely heavily on individual and organizational support to adequately cater for persons in its care, mostly kids. Management says the outbreak of COVID-19 has further outstretched already meager resources amid continued arrival of fresh inmates. Madam Boma says heightened safety protocols are critical in ensuring inmates and staff are protected because they cannot turn away new arrivals for unjustified reasons. Mabel Boma explains further.
Our new admissions are normally accompanied by medical reports about the child that we are receiving. Therefore, the child, anybody who comes here is accompanied by a medical report. And when the child comes, we also have a resident nurse. She examines the child to see whether his or her present condition corresponds with what is written in the medical report. Then she will also do her personal examination before we hand the child over to the mothers. And at this season, we also we have to make sure we bath the child with some disinfectants. We isolate the child for some period to also enable us to examine him before we mingle or interact that child with those here already.
Relatives and other visitors are not allowed to come into contact with inmates.
Please, as a result of the ongoing COVID-19, now when you come to Kumasi Children's Home, you may not actually get the chance to see the case because they are at the back playing at the playing grounds or in their various units. So if you are a visitor, you come here, the first point is you wash your hands, you sanitize your hands as well before the social workers attend to you. You only see the case maybe playing from afar, then you wave or you say hi, but you are not allowed to get near them as they are also not allowed to come in front of the administration. So these are some of the measures that we've put in place to actually curb this ongoing pandemic. And actually when the issue came, we also invited a doctor to come and educate them. He came here, Dr. Harry Boateng, to sensitize them about this ongoing pandemic and the necessary procedures or protocols that need to be followed in order to help us or prevent ourselves from the COVID-19.
With over 80 inmates, COVID-19 has compounded perennial resource constraints at home. Food and medical essentials are always in short supply until the next private donor shows up. Meanwhile, pharmaceutical giant Amponsen-Ifa Pharmaceuticals has reached out to the home with assorted food and medical supplies to support its fight against the coronavirus. Jifa Amechime is head of marketing.
Today we are happy to be at the Kumasi Children's Home to donate few food items, hand sanitizer, detergents and soaps, together with some first aid medicine, especially Citrus C, to the home. And it is part of our social responsibility we do to various institutions within the year. Today it is the turn of the Kumasi Children's Home.
Nana Asensumensa reporting.
I'm about leaving, but let's see if we can do some of your messages before we go. This one says, I want to know when the Ministry of Health will announce a vaccine for this virus. Well, all over the world, we don't have one yet. The social distance works only at offices and banks, but about 70% of the people are self-employed. What measures are the authorities taking to control the system? This is from Isaac. Isaac is texting us from Takwa. Says, I think it's not advisable for government of Ghana to open the borders now. The truth of the matter is that there are many Ghanaians living abroad who are infected with COVID-19. They are scared to go to the hospital and therefore they are treating it themselves. If the borders have to be open now, I tell you, there would be no Ghana again. Well, Ghana will still be here, but very good point you make there about the people who are infected, who are not reporting and who may just come into the country if the doors are open. This one says, because there is no traditional chief in Obuasi, that's why you always disgrace people. The same thing, okay, I'm not sure. You're saying that we need proof. The virus is there. We believe, but prove it to us. I am from Insuta. I stay at Obuasi. Biposo constituency, they all have traditional chiefs. Okay, the point you're making is that it's not fair that people that people don't have proof of the disease in Obuasi. I'm not quite sure. You don't add your name, but the disease is real. People have it, and we have seen people die from it. It is real indeed. You better advise yourself. I think you should really advise yourself. Evacuation of Ghanaian citizens abroad is the best solution because they are suffering there. Francis Agbemabiese sends that message. Let me take a final one, and then we call it a day. Right, this one is also talking about politics. Says the NPP and NDC should stop politics with COVID-19, respecting solutions, not who is doing well or who is doing the wrong things. Thank you for sending all of your messages in. We'll do Let's Talk Showbiz, but I want to leave you with this video. It's part of our frontline messages, but we want you to have a look at this because I wanted to end the show with it because I wanted to take it home with you and let it stay with you. My name is Gifty Andopia. Log on to myjoyonline.com where there is more news and information, and there will be Let's Talk Showbiz after you see this video, but let this video get stuck in your brains.